sprung a leak, and the animals I've trapped have all become my pets, and I'm living off of grass and the drippings from the ceiling. It's okay to eat fish, 'cause they don't have any feelings. Something in the way, something in the way, yeah. Something in the way. Something in the way, yeah. Something in the way. Something in the way, yeah. Underneath the bridge, top has sprung a leak.
We see Haley and Dave sitting at a restaurant table, and Dave says, thanks for joining me. I just had to get the hell out of there. When Tom parties, he fucking parties alright, oh boy, let me tell ya. Haley says, yeah, that's enough partying for me today. Haley says, by the way, got training tomorrow. We gotta get our numbers up. If we're gonna be standing our ground, we need as many fighters as we can possibly get. Dave says, well, I'm sure Miles could do it. We're gonna be as ready can get. What happened back there when my dad died? Or when Lincoln died? No one's ever going to be able to hurt like that ever again. Haley says, how can you be so sure? Dave says, trust me, it'll work out. We then see Kingstonville go dark. We then see some of the civilians in the restaurant start getting stabbed and killed. Dave and Haley pull out their guns and shoot two of the undercover apostles. More start firing at these apostles as we see a shootout break out as Haley and Dave back up against the building. As they reload, we see a dead body on the sidewalk as the blood runs down the sidewalk. Haley says, we're being tested here. This is Bishop's retaliation. Dave then hears all of the screams in the background of the residents getting killed, and he says, we gotta move, come on. As they then run away, we see a window as we see blood on it through the reflection of the window, as we see apostle masks being lit up as they make their presence known in the dark. We then see Tom carrying Julia as we see him running in the streets with her in his arms. As we see Rivers is running with them as she pulls out her gun as they are running towards the Kingstonville hospital. We see two apostles in front of the hospital building. As we see them, as Rivers then fires her gun towards them as she misses. We see her aim is off because she's still drunk. We then see she tries firing again, but she kills them both. Tom looks terrified for Julia as he says, we're almost there, come on. Back at the Apostle Nest, we see someone walks up to the cave. Amelia then stands there with her hands up as she says, I came to speak to Bishop. I don't mean any trouble. I'm here for my husband. We see two apostles walk out of the cave and put a bag over her head as they bring her inside. We see Bishop having a nice steak dinner at his bar as we see an apostle walks up to him and says, hey sir, we got an intake in custody. Thought you should see them. Bishop stands up and says, well, who is it? They bring her in as she still has the bag on her head, as Bishop says, let me guess, Are you here for me, Haley cultist? Amelia says, I'm here for you. They remove the bag as she looks at her husband face to face as Bishop looks shocked. As we see, he knocks the drink off of his table. As we see, it spills as he slowly walks up to her. And as we see him hug her tight as he sits there with his wife in his arms, and he says, Is this really happening? Is this really you? Amelia holds him and says, It's really me. I've missed you so fucking much. As she kisses him, and Bishop says, You can put your weapons down. Come on, put them down. They put their weapons down as Bishop says to his men, Y'all go for a bit. We've got a lot to talk about. As we see a big smile on Bishop's face. Back in Kingstonville, the doors to the hospital opens and Tom runs in with Julia in his arms and yells out, Help me! Help me, please! We see the nurses running as they take Julia right away and take her away, as Tom looks horrified and says, Please help her. River says, I'll guard the door. We're under attack here. I'll stop any sick fuck that tries to get in. Tom says, I can't just leave you here. River says, Go to your daughter. I'll be fine. Tom then kisses her, and then he walks away to go to his daughter. We see Miles standing in the streets as apostles surround him in every direction. As he hears the screams from some of the residents, he pulls out his sword and says, All right then, a swordsman bitches it is then. He swings at them and slices two of their heads off. We see he sticks his sword into one of them as it goes through the other side of their stomach. He then gets tackled by the last one as this apostle is punching Miles over and over again. We see he's reaching for his sword in the grass, but he can't get to it. He punches him again in order to get close enough to it as he grabs his sword out of the grass and stabs him in the belly as the apostle's guts spills out all over him as the last apostle goes down. Miles then stands up as he's covered in blood as he turns around to see two of the Kingstonville buildings behind him get blown up. Miles looks startled by it as we see Isaac from outside the walls with a grenade launcher. As he and James see the explosion, and James says, Good one, son. Isaac says, That was good, right? James says, Oh yeah, it was fucking great. James looks back at his people and says, Okay, Cheryl did her job. This place is fallen. That's good. Time to push in now, you slow fucks. Isaac says, How the hell are we getting in? James says, The same way you did before. The hole in the wall that you made. The lazy fucks didn't go Bob the fucking builder mode and fix the fucking thing yet. Their loss. Our fucking gain. As we see the apostles move in, as they are walking through the streets of Kingstonville, going house to house, killing everyone in their homes. We see blood all over the floor of what's left of Bruce's party. As we see Bruce is still in there, as he looks out the window and he sees apostles running through the streets. As he looks worried, he grabs a pistol and loads it. Bruce is drinking one of his beers. Suddenly, an apostle breaks down his door and attacks him. Bruce almost gets stabbed, but then he smashes a beer bottle on the apostle's head. The apostle falls and Bruce gets his gun. Bruce shoots the apostle in the chest, and then the apostle looks at him, bleeding out. Bruce aims the gun to the apostle's head and says, You stupid motherfucker. Bruce then shoots the apostle in the head and kills him. We then see Sydney on guard as she sees apostles on the inside. We then see an apostle comes up behind her as he knocks her down. Sydney then smashes her face on the floor of the tower as the apostle runs towards her and she kicks him down. He falls back a bit. The apostle then says, You will pay. Your week is up. Your time is up too. Sydney says, Bishop is more full of shit than I thought then, huh? The apostle says, Bishop isn't calling the shots anymore. Sydney says, Then who is? The apostle says, Don't you worry your pretty little mind about that there, sweetheart. He swings at her and it cuts her right in the throat. Some blood comes out, but it's not fatal. We then see she hears an explosion in the background. We see it distracts the apostle as she then headbutts him to the ground. She then starts punching him over and over and over again until her fist is covered in blood. She stands over him and says, "Whoever leads you psychos now, doesn't even fucking matter. We were always gonna cut off the head of the snake." She stabs him in the head and she grabs her gun and runs down to help the others. Haley and Dave are backed up against a wall. As they see blood in the streets, Haley looks pissed and says, "They're killing everyone. I gotta get to Billy." She starts running as Dave says, "I'll find my family, and then I'll find you both, okay?" They nod at each other as they split up to go find their loved ones. We see even more buildings getting blown up. As Ashley, Luke, and Roger see this as they start running, as we see 6 apostles are standing in a field in front of them. Ashley says to Luke and Roger, "You two go, find the others. I got this." Luke says, "Nope, we're needed right here. I ran away once when you told me. You're in my house now, and I'm gonna defend it." Cheryl takes off her apostle mask, showing she's all in with James. She looks at Ashley and says, "You completely drank the Kool-Aid, didn't you?" Ashley says, "I could say the same for you." "We're gonna talk or we're gonna fight, huh?" Ashley pulls out her sword and says, "Well, what do you know? Looks like I'm not done with this yet." We then see her run towards the apostles as Luke then stabs one of them, as we see Roger uses his new hand to slice 2 of the apostles' throat open. Ashley kills 2 with her sword as we then see Cheryl jumps her. She's slamming Ashley's head on the ground as we see blood coming out of Ashley's mouth. Luke and Roger then see more apostles coming up behind them as Luke and Roger run right towards them. We see Tom sitting in the room as we see Julia on the bed. We see she wakes up and says, "Dad?" Tom says, "Hey, baby girl, are you okay?" Julia says, "Yeah. It hurts a lot. How did this happen?" He looks terrified for her as we hear people are leaving the hospital, as we hear a few explosions coming from outside. Tom says, "We're under attack, baby. Look, I need you to stay here, okay? I'll be right back." We see Rivers is standing by the door with her weapon out, as we see people are fleeing the hospital as Rivers tries to stop a few of them, as she says, "Look, you can't go out there, okay? It's too dangerous." One of them says, "Lady, I suggest you get the hell out of my way. I'm going home to my son. He's the only family I have left." Rivers doesn't know what to say to this, so she lets her go. Tom then walks out to the front as he says, "Julia's awake, but all the doctors are gone. There's no one left." Rivers says, "Yeah, this place is going to hell." Tom says, "You go out there and help. Don't let me and Julia slow you down." Rivers says, "Not a chance. I'm not going anywhere, okay? I'm saving you both tonight." Tom says, "Okay." We see Catherine and Rose as we see all the fires. Rose says, "Mommy, what's going on? I'm scared." Catherine says, I know you are, baby. It's all right. I'm right here, okay?" We see Dave walks in a panic and saying, "Baby?" Catherine runs up to him with Rose, and Rose says, "Daddy!" Rose hugs her dad, and Dave looks at Catherine and says, "We have to go. They're bombing everything." Catherine says, "It's them?" Dave says, "It is. Don't worry, I'm gonna get us out of this, all right?" As we see Dave and his family run out of the house. We see James walks into one of the houses, as we see he stabs an old couple and kills them as blood splatters on the window, as he looks at the 2 of his apostles and he says, "I really fucking hate house guests. Trick or treat, motherfuckers." Back at the Apostle Nest, we see Bishop and Amelia sitting in Bishop's room as Amelia says, "How did it happen?" Bishop says, "After I escaped the camp, a group called the Vipers found me. But I guess you know that." Amelia says, "I do. Although I was thrown right into the mix in the middle of everything. When they told me that they needed my help taking down the city, I I didn't know what to do. I didn't know what I was getting myself into at all. I didn't know the severity of the situation. And if I had known you were in there, I wouldn't have. Bishop says, no, I know. Amelia's crying and he says, hey, you have nothing to be sorry for. You were just following orders. Amelia says, how'd you get burned? Bishop says, I tried saving innocent lives that I couldn't save in the end. A mother and her little boy. They didn't want to leave. The kid's grandmother was on her deathbed, and we had to go in order to survive. When the military came, I held them off for as long as I could. But I only had you in mind the entire time. I fought Luke in his place, and Luke was going in killing everyone. He even killed a dying grandmother, trying to kill me. Amelia looks really put off by hearing this, and Bishop says, Luke pushed me into the fire. We see it's too much for him, and she says, it's okay. I'm here, it's okay. Bishop says, I thought I wanted revenge on Lincoln. But now that I got it, I just made things worse. I lied to Ashley in order to get what I wanted. Now she's gone. And I didn't honestly realize how much of a mess I made until I saw your face walk through that door. And until I saw this again. He turns on his TV and Bishop says, that's me. That's the real me. Not killing and lying and revenge. Revenge drives you mad. Like it did me. Amelia says, you're not mad. You never were. You just had principles and you did something about it. Bishop says, I just wish things weren't like this. I wish I didn't kill so many people. I wish that this place, that I could have made it into what Xavier wanted me to turn it into. I wish we never left that house, baby. Ever since we did, everything has been bad luck for us. Amelia says, hey, we can still have that life. We can still change things. Bishop says, it's too late. This war has already gone too far and there's no going back here. Amelia says, maybe not. Haley is a grieving wife and a mother, and I understand if she wouldn't want to. But maybe I can talk to her. She's not a bad person, baby. None of them are. Lincoln, for leading this charge in the way that he did, he knew the errors of his mistakes. He knew what he took from you, and that's why he accepted his own fate. Lincoln knew exactly what he did. Lincoln realized what he did, and he took responsibility for it. But the rest of those people back there, maybe they were just following a psychopath. Bishop remembers what he saw in Lindsay's office as he sits there and says, so was I. We hear a knock at the door as Bishop says, come in. An apostle walks in, very panicked, and says, sir, I just got word from James. Bishop says, yeah, what the hell did he do now? The apostle says, he took off with Cheryl and some others. Apparently they're going after Kingstonville and they plan to eliminate it all by tonight. Amelia looks freaked out, and Amelia asks, how many people were with him? The apostle doesn't answer, and Bishop says, she's just as important here as me. The apostle says, at least over 40. Bishop says, there's kids in there? He looks very pissed as we see the expression on his face completely changes as we see him say, ready a group. We're stopping that son of a bitch right now. The apostle says, we'll be at the front in 5. Bishop then looks at Amelia as he then says to his guy, Tell them Ryan and Amelia are on their way. Amelia looks nervous as she kind of looks at Ryan and she realizes she may have just gotten through to her husband. Back in Kingstonville, Ashley's face is messed up as Cheryl still has her down on the ground as she says, you killed our people. You turned on our people. We brought you in. And now You're gonna get your comeuppance. Ashley knocks her off of her as she slowly gets up. We see she grabs her head in pain as Cheryl says, I am finished with you. Ashley says, I'm not. She kicks her to the ground. Ashley picks up her sword as Cheryl kicks Ashley onto the dock. As we see Ashley's sword goes into the water, she loses it. Then Cheryl sees Ashley has no weapons and she says, well, let's make this fair. Ashley puts her knife down as we see they charge at each other. Cheryl then punches Ashley 3 times. Ashley is trying to fight back, but she's still hurt. We see Ashley kicks her in the stomach. Cheryl falls back a bit as Ashley punches her again. Roger cuts 2 of the apostles in the throat. Luke stabs the others as we then see the building in front of them gets a grenade thrown in front of it. Luke and Roger scatter in 2 different directions as we see the building blow up. We see Dave, Catherine, and Rose running through the streets as a grenade is thrown in front of them as they run towards a football field. As Dave is walking through the smoke, we then hear Catherine screams from far as he says, Cat, Rose? We hear a voice saying, turn around, Mr. Miller. We see, standing in the smoke, Isaac with Catherine at gunpoint. As Dave looks pissed and Catherine says, Dave, please don't. Isaac says, shut up. You've all been following a psychopath for long enough. Me and my dad are going to take this place down tonight, and we are eliminating everyone who stands. Dave says, please don't hurt her. Isaac says, I have orders. Dave says, Isaac, I know you don't want this. Okay, I can see it in your eyes. I know deep down you're a good kid. Please don't do this. Isaac says, you don't know anything about me. What me and my dad are doing is bigger than just Kingstonville. You told me when you trained me that all that mattered was that even if it's a hard journey getting there, the more you hear and see death, the more capable you are. So now, you're gonna listen to that. Dave Miller, you're about to listen to the beautiful sound of death. Dave looks worried as he remembers what happened to his last family. Now, we see a gunshot go through Catherine's throat as she falls to her knees as she's trying to say something to Dave, but she falls to her death and bleeds out. Dave looks pissed as we see once again a tear coming down his face. Isaac then shoots Dave as he falls to the ground. Isaac then stands over him as he's ready to kill Dave. Out of nowhere, he gets shot in the face. As Isaac goes down, we reveal Colin and Rebecca as we see Dave's walkie going off. Colin says, Dave, you're clear, but more down the street. You gotta go now. Dave gets up and starts running away and leaves Catherine there as he runs away to go find his daughter. As Colin and Rebecca go down and leave the roof to go help, as we see Isaac laying in the football field, as we see he's still moving, he slowly gets up as we see his right eye has been shot out. We see 2 apostles running up to him as one of them says, take him out of here, help him. That's James's son. If he knows we let that happen under our watch, he'll do even worse to us. The other apostle says, I told you Bishop's way was the only way, as the apostle runs away with Isaac in his arms. Cheryl knocks Ashley down on the dock. As Ashley is bleeding badly, we see she's holding Ashley down over the edge of the dock. As Cheryl says, it's time for you to swim like an animal. Luke then comes up behind Cheryl and stabs her in the neck as she's bleeding out. Luke keeps the knife in her throat as he says, well, why don't you test the waters first? He takes the knife out of her throat as she falls in the water and falls to her death. Ashley's hurt and Luke says, here, come with me. We gotta get the hell out of here. Ashley says, thank you, Luke says, I owed you one. Rivers is standing guard as we see the apostles walking towards the hospital. She gets ready, but then she sees one of them is about to launch an explosive towards the entrance. Rivers runs as fast as she can and says to Tom and Julia, we have to go. They're coming in. Meanwhile, Sydney is bloody as she is running through the streets as she then sees Nathan and Vivian. As we see everything is burning, we see Rose hiding behind a bush as Sydney says, Hey, it's okay. Where's your dad and your mom? Rose is crying and Sydney looks horrified, and Nathan and Vivian see there are more apostles coming, and Nathan says, Sydney, we gotta go now. Colin and Rebecca see that the place is burnt badly as they don't hear any more screams and no one else around. Colin then says, we'll check the roads on our way out. We need to go. Rebecca looks sad because she really thought they had a home. Tom, Julia, and Rivers are running through the hospital. As they hear an explosion from down the hall, Rivers sees an exit sign as they go through the side door as they run out into the street. Tom then hears Rivers say, Tom, stop. They then turn around to see Manland has also been blown up. Then he hears Snoop barking from far. Tom looks frightened and says, Snoop! Snoop! He runs out back to see Snoop hiding behind the dumpster in the alleyway. As he takes him and he says, oh my god, are you alright, boy? Snoop looks really scared as they all see the destruction of Kingstonville. Fire's burning. Julia is barely even on her feet. And Tom makes the call. We gotta go, Rivers. As they all run away together out of Kingstonville. Dave is walking through the town as he sees dead people in the streets. He looks horrified as he's checking everywhere to see if his daughter is one of them. He doesn't find her, but then he finds her necklace on the ground. As we see it's bloody, he looks horrified. As he breaks down, we see Roger walks up to him and says, I'm so sorry, Dave. Dave says, they killed her. They probably killed my fucking daughter too. He's on his knees and says, this is the price. I was never gonna get a free ride in this world. And I knew it was too goddamn good to be true. Roger says, hey, you tried. It's not over for you, you hear me? Now you can either sit here and wait to die, or you can get up and fight another day, like I know your family would want you to do. Dave says, I just don't know if I can do this all over again. I may not have anything to even live for. Roger says, you will. Because you're still here. A lot of people don't get to say that anymore. Dave says, I just don't know. Roger then says, well, if you don't, let me tell you what your father would think. Dave gets up as Roger says, let's get out of here. Haley is walking through the streets as she sees all the dead bodies, as she then starts walking towards her house. James is walking through the smoke with 5 other apostles. We see an apostle running with Isaac in his arms. As he runs up to James, and James says, what the fuck happened? Oh my fuck! Is he dead? The apostle says, I don't know, but we gotta get him back home as soon as possible if we want to save his life. James says, you take the truck with Ken and Kate and go back. I got things to finish here. We see Haley, who actually cares about her child. She walks up to her porch and slowly enters as she whispers, Billy? Billy, it's Mommy. Baby, please answer me. We hear nothing but silence. We then hear, you looking for someone? Haley turns around to see James with a gun to Billy's head, as James says, what a fucking nifty delight there, housewife. Haley looks terrified and says, James? James, please don't. Shut the fuck up, he says. For once in your fucking lifetime, shut the fuck up and listen. Haley says, Okay. James says, I want you to understand. I want you to know the kind of husband that you had. Haley says, the one you killed, you mean? James says, not the smartest thing to say considering the trigger that could be pulled at any goddamn moment. Haley says, you killed his father. What? Are you gonna fucking kill us both now? Is that it? Keep us alive for barely a week? Let us just sit like this until it's our turn? James says, your husband deserved everything that happened to him. Whether it was the Viper City of innocent people, or how he treated me growing up, or my fucking wife. James says, in the last few months of the outbreak, me, Isaac, and Angela were struggling for money badly. I tried everything I could to keep our family afloat. I borrowed money from so many different people, just so our family could stay under a roof. No one ever contacted us. My sister had her own life and moved on. Lincoln had his. But even when we were kids, Lincoln always got everything he fucking wanted. All he was treated like the important one. And when things got really bad, and when me and my family lost our fucking home, we lost everything we had besides the clothes on our backs. Me, my boy, and my wife out there with nothing. And for a few nights, the back of a goddamn alleyway was a good place to call home. Haley looks shocked, and James says, I don't like calling my brother. You know me. I take care of myself. But I had no choice. For my family's survival. I called my brother, and I practically begged him to help us. And you know what he said to me? I got my own family to tend to, and you have yours. I gotta get back to work, he says. And he said, I can't deal with your nonsense. Haley looks shocked, and James looks upset and says, and not 1 hour later, one of the jackasses that I was in debt to found us that night. They cornered us, demanding me to give them their money back. When I said I didn't have it, they said they would kill us all. And they killed my wife. And they would have killed me and Isaac too if I didn't do what I did. Haley says, what did you do? James says, I killed them. Every last one of them in front of my son. And now my son is still scared of me. And if my own fucking brother would have helped me like the fucking family man that he claims he was, why is my wife dead in the ground? Haley doesn't know what to say, and James says, I bet my brother never fucking told you anything about that, didn't he? No. He only cares about his immediate family. And you know the one thing I heard after I killed those men? I heard my dad's voice in my head saying, you're nothing. You're not good at anything. And then I realized, I am good at one thing. Surviving. And I stop anyone that gets in the way of that. Haley says, please, just don't. James says, what? You think I'd kill your little boy? You're all grown adults. It wasn't just my brother that slaughtered the city of innocent people. It was all of you. You all know exactly what you did. And what I did to your home tonight is exactly what you deserve. It's called fucking karma. But your son here? And all these other children that grow up in this place. I ordered my men to save all the children that they found. And I'm taking them all with me. They will thrive under my auspices, instead of growing up with all the psychopaths that lived here. I'm gonna correct my brother's fuck up. James says, alright. Go on. Kill her. We see 4 other apostles surround Haley as they all start beating her to the ground as she's saying, don't, please. As we see James grabs Billy and leaves with him as he closes the door to let Haley die. We then see 2 trucks roll up to the front gate. As we see Ryan and Amelia pull up to the front, as they then see Kingstonville is completely destroyed. Ryan looks horrified seeing the fires as he pulls out one of his swords, as he then tells his men, "Spread out. Find any survivors you can, and you save them. I'll deal with James." We see Amelia and a few other apostles go with him as he walks through the destroyed streets of Kingstonville, as it's all coming back to Ryan, as he sees dead bodies all around and fires burning, as he looks angry and says, "This world is nothing but a fucking democracy, and we're prisoners to this life. It's time to fucking break out." He pulls out a huge gun and he says to his men, "Take my guys all around. Find anyone you can. Save who you can. I'll be back soon." They walk off as he and Amelia sit there, and Ryan thinks of all the chances that he has given James, and he says, "Well, I may have just killed the wrong brother." We see a group of apostles in a room as Bishop walks in, and all the apostles turn to him, and he says, "I don't know what to look at you with. Sadness, anger, or fear of what you've become." Bishop takes out his sword and says, "Eye for an eye. You all betrayed me and went with James. I guess. I'm so sorry, my lord." As we see him light up and kill several of his rogue apostles, as he then remembers what Xavier said. "The bishops were successors of the apostles. That's what I need you to be. Their bishop. Not Ryan, but the one who leads them. The one who cares about them, which I fucking know you do. I'm asking you as your best friend. I'm asking you as my brother. And as my death wish, you lead these suckers. You give them the courage to push on no matter what. They will follow you. You already have their respect. Now, do they have their bishop?" Bishop says, "I'll make sure that these people matter for as long as I can." And now, currently, he looks at all the apostles he just killed, and he says, "Amen." We see Haley getting beat to the ground as we see she kicks two of them down as she sucker punches another and knocks one of them down. They all start to overpower her as she gets a few hits in, but then we see a sword come through two of them. The other two get stabbed by Ashley as her, Luke, and Miles find Haley alone in the house. As they help her up, we see she panics and she says, He took him. He took him. He fucking took him. He took him." Ashley says, Hey, I need you to breathe, okay? Who'd they take?" Haley says, "James, he took Billy. He ripped him away from me. He took him away from me." Miles looks worried and says, "You see where they went?" Haley looks panicked and says, I don't know." As they run out of the house as quickly as they can, as they see everything is on fire, and Haley looks horrified as she looks at the destroyed Kingstonville in front of her eyes. She then says, He's gone." She falls to her knees as Haley, Miles, Luke, and Ashley stand there with nothing left but each other, as they then see apostles start to surround them from every direction. They all pull out their weapons as Haley says, "You take me to my son right now, or I will gut you all where you stand." As we then see someone walking up to them as they say, "Every time we meet, it gets more ugly. My real name is Ryan Dutton, and I have a proposition for you. You want your boy back?" Haley says, "Yes." Ryan says, "Then let's go fucking get him."
New blood joins this herd.
We see a train driving by. As we see, it drives by a sign that says, Toronto. We see a deer walking through the forest. As we see, someone shoots it. As we see, it goes down. We see the guy is bringing the deer back to his camp, and he lays it down. We then see him sitting there, starting a fire. As we see, his friend walks up to him and says, "Ooh, you caught a big one. We're eating good tonight, man, let me tell you." The other guy says, "You think we're close?" The guy says, "Yeah, we gotta be. I think we're a little over 100 miles out from Ziltramite by now. We'll probably be there in a couple days." The other guy says, "Well, for what it's worth, I think it's gonna..." They then see the deer starts to get up. As the guy says, What the hell?" We hear it making these growling sounds. We then see its eyes are red. They both look terrified as the deer runs towards them and it takes one of them down. As the other guy runs away, we see his friend is getting eaten alive by a reanimated deer.